guys. Oh, I suppose I should take off my neck thing, huh? That's embarrassing. So I actually have a story I want to share with you guys, and I couldn't wait to share it. For those of you who watch my channel and have watched my channel for a while, I had talked about a story before. I had told a story before of, okay, where should I start? So my life was not easy. I have been a single mom now for quite some time. I've only been married once, and my ex-husband I met when I was 13. So that gives you a little insight into that. And he and I, kind of broke up, got back together over the years, and then I married him. And it didn't end so well. So he ended up being quite abusive in the end. He hurt me very badly to where the court ordered, I didn't even ever ask for it, a lifelong restraining order. That's kind of how my divorce ended. He was a DOC officer and got very, very bad. And so that's a lot of insight, but this is a purposeful story. Okay, it's very purposeful. The way that divorce ended was horrible. So I had a divorce and a trial. I had to go to trial for it. I was subpoenaed because I was the victim. It was not fun. And all I wanted was, I don't even remember what I asked for. Like, I didn't ask for much, but the judge immediately ordered a lifelong restraining order. So I've literally pretty much been a single mom. And for a little while there, he didn't see my kids for a long time. And then he did see them. And then again, he had this long stretch of not seeing them. Turns out he's definitely been struggling and had some problems. Like I said, for those of you who watched my channel a while ago, I had what felt like all of a sudden out of the blue, a nudge. I felt like an urge. And I was asked, God, the angels, whoever came to me at the time asked me if I would forgive him. Just a feeling I had out of the blue not that long ago. And I was hesitant. I'm like, does this mean I give up the restraining order? Like, what does that mean? But of course I did. I was like, yes, I do. And then I found out he was in the hospital and he was very ill. And this was not that long ago. So I wanted to share this. It was something that came to me. They asked me to forgive him, so I did. And then we found out he was kind of dying in the hospital. He did make it through that, but he didn't get better afterwards. He got worse with what he was dealing with, which happened to be drugs. Really bad, like even to where he didn't even go to his own grandma's funeral, and I did. And so, I was like, man, why did God come to me? Why did I have to forgive him? All these kinds of things. And then, so I didn't hear. My kids haven't seen from him. He messaged them when he was in the hospital after I had the question if I would forgive him. And I'm like, okay, maybe he'll get it together. And he didn't. And then we didn't see him again for a very long time. My kids have not seen him nor heard from him in a very long time. And we've tried. 333. They've tried. They got ignored. His mom tries. She has been in a state where she worries every day for him, and these were the people who were very mean to me, by the way. They were very, very mean to me, lied a lot about me, and it never mattered to me, And I told her, well, okay, so this is a weird story, but I have to share it just because it goes with the times we're in right now. It really, truly does, and it warmed my heart, and it gave me a lot of motivation. So, the twin flame journey did leave me very ill and behind and things, but now I just feel empowered. I feel completely empowered, and I feel like a different person. Okay, so after that, he didn't get any better, and I'm like, okay, God, I guess, it's not working. And I would pray for him, but I've never reached out. I've never still allowed him to do anything, and only thing he's ever said is, I wish your mom would talk to me, to my kids. And for a while there, I'd be like, big red flag. And so I'd ignore it. Last night, my daughter had a nightmare. She woke up this morning crying, 4:44, crying profusely. She had a major nightmare yesterday, or last night, that her dad jumped off a bridge. And she's 9 years old. She's never I don't let her watch things like that. Like this just came out of the blue. It was very vivid. She woke up completely crying this morning, completely freaked out that her dad jumped off a bridge and died. And I held her for a while. And I happen to know that when you have dreams like this, they're usually for a reason. And so I'm like, oh gosh, she's like me, you know, because I've had dreams since I was little. And he's kind of been asking for me the last couple times. He did mention anything to anybody, but he won't talk to his mom. He won't talk to anybody. He's really like in the throes of it. He's really struggling really bad. And I'm like, okay. When my daughter saw that, I'm like, okay, she can't, you know, a 9-year-old, like really, like that's heavy dream, you know, but obviously it's a reason. And so I had my son message him, and it was a very short response. And it was again, you know, maybe your mom could help me. And I'm like, 5:55. And I woke up this morning, it was 5:55, by the way. It's been fives like crazy today. And then I'm like, what do I do with this situation? But it's important because it really goes with these times. And there's no coincidences here either, okay? And so I had messaged his mom because I may have to move. Like I'm working on moving out. I can't do things like I should have been. But then all of a sudden I got this fire in me and I'm like, screw that. Like watch me. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make this happen. Because I messaged his mom and she's like, yeah, I've been praying really hard. She goes, every time somebody is found dead, I think it may be him. And I'm like, this isn't good. You know, this isn't good. What can I do? And I told her, do you have his number? Because even she doesn't have his phone number, you guys. Even his own mom doesn't have his phone number. She's like, no, I talked to him on Messenger. Like he completely hides out. He hasn't seen his kids in almost a year. The only time I talked to him was when he was in the hospital dying, which was right after I had got the urge to forgive him. And I did. And I'm like, okay, so this must be what God was talking about. This must be why I was asked, because I'm presented with a scenario where I'm like, I got his phone number. And so the way I got it, 707, was I had my son message him on Messenger. And he wasn't answering him very much. He told him he missed him. And I said, well, I can take you guys to see him. And then he stopped talking to him. And I'm like, son of a gun. And so I got my son's phone because he's been blocked on mine for years. I didn't even think about it, right? Like I really have blocked him because he was very, very abusive. I don't even want to get into the abuse this man did, other than it gave me severe PTSD. And I had to go to therapy before I had my awakening for it. And all they would tell me is, yep, severe PTSD, and want to give me drugs. I'm like, no. But anyway, so it was really, really bad abuse. This isn't abuse that you'd want to go and through, and it's one that made me deathly afraid. Okay, I was deathly afraid of him for years. So I was thankful for the restraining order that I didn't ask for. So after I messaged him on Messenger, I actually got a response, and I got his phone number. He gave it to me, and so I did message him. And oddly enough, he sat out yesterday contemplating life and death and wanting to die. He didn't want to tell me details, but he says, I don't want you to think I'm crazy, but even God came to me yesterday. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's crazy. There's no coincidences here, you guys, at all. Okay, so first of all, my 9-year-old is like me, so I was a little like, of course she is. But these things happen for a reason. And he's like, he actually said thank you. I'm the one he's talked to the most. He won't talk to anybody. And he gave me a paragraph, you know, and I won't go into details, but he did say a little bit that he's been having a hard time, and I've known him since so I met him when I was 13, and mind you, he was almost an adult. So not necessarily a good scenario. But it just gave me such hope. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, so this is what God was talking about. This is exactly what God was prepping me for, and I just got chills. I had no idea this was coming. I thought maybe, you know, we were failing because my kids haven't seen him in the better part of a year, and he doesn't respond to them much at all. So apparently when his mom talks about them, he cries. And so he's definitely dealing with some demons, big ones. And I'm like, well, this is my opportunity to love a masculine at least, right? He's not necessarily a twin flame or divine masculine, but he was definitely masculine, a male. And I'm like, okay, this must have been the reason that I was asked. if I would forgive him, because restraining order and everything aside, like all fear and everything aside, I gave him the avenue of hope, and I told him we were here for him, and I even gave him an opportunity that I will take my kids and go meet up with him so he can see them. And I just have hope all of a sudden. I have hope. There's a reason for everything. There's no coincidences. What happened to me, it was about 6 months ago, I think. I don't even know. And I talked about it on my channel. There's no coincidences that my daughter had that dream. I just wish she didn't. However, she's a little more like me than we thought. And so if you guys are having anything like that, there's a reason. So do your best to do something about it. Okay. And then it made me realize how much love I still have in my heart to give, even though I haven't been able to give it to this person yet. But it's very much so there, and it's very much so huge. And all of a sudden, I just have this power inside of me to take back control of my own world in such a way that I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it boldly and proudly. And as of today, I even found somewhere to go, 11:11. It's not in the Springs, but I'm not even sure I'll have to go. I just have this sudden urge of power, you guys, and it was because of these simple, subtle things, like these simple, subtle nudges, these things. How many of you have dreams like that, or know somebody that has dreams like that, and we don't usually do anything about them, right? Like we don't usually do anything about them. Or, you know, it's just these little moments, and I feel like they're really important right now. They're very important, and they're very big. And I feel like if you have those, they're of significance, and we should act on them because somebody just may need it, like badly. Like badly. And this person was not reaching out to anybody. He has been contemplating just ending it all by himself. And there's no coincidence God or the angels came to me, and then they came to him yesterday. He's like, I don't want to sound crazy. And I told him, you're not. 12:12. I straight told him what happened to me a while back for him, and that we pray for him every day. Now, mind you, 12:22. This was somebody who abused me severely for years. Like, for years. Like something you wouldn't forgive somebody for. It was a big deal, you know? I ended up in the hospital. I would go lock myself in the bathroom, and he would break in, and he would interrogate me and break me down, because he was also a DLC officer in the end. He wasn't always that, but very bad things. And in the text message, I could tell it was weighing heavy in his heart. He's like, I'm just so very sorry for everything. And I told him all is forgiven. Like, I have no ill will. This is crazy that these things are happening. 13:13. I can't make it up. It's very important, and it's very relevant. And I feel like somebody has to hear this. That's why I felt this urge to share it. Like somebody has to hear this scenario. And I don't know who, and I don't know why. But somebody does. It was a big deal. 13:33, and the synchronicities are like crazy. A really big deal that this happened in the way it happened, and I feel honored, to be honest with you, and I'm getting chills like crazy. Because it would have been never something I thought I could do, or that would have happened. And if I can save my kid's dad, I'm all for it. I don't care what he's done to me. All is forgiven, and I put it aside. And all I'm saying, and I feel like this is significant, because in these times we find ourselves in, can any of you do that? Somebody who hurt you, 14:14, pretty badly. To where I was even thankful for that restraining order. Like, there were times where he broke it, and every fiber of my being wanted to call somebody and help, but I didn't. I never did. I'm not even ever the one that called anybody on him. I didn't even ask for it. The judge ordered it. But he used to use the police against me, and he used to make me very afraid and things like that. And so over the years, like, there were so many scenarios where I didn't react. I would get like frozen. And so the fact that we're here, the fact that I was asked if I would forgive him prior to him even going in the hospital, you guys, there's a lot of significance here. Like, the story is crazy, crazy weird, but very relevant. And it is personal, but I feel like it's super important, especially with these times that we find ourselves in. This ascension is very, very real, and we don't know 1515 what's coming and when. I did notice there's an uptick in earthquakes and things of that nature that kind of coincide with what I did in the workshops as well. And so all of this is kind of just like, whew. And then the position that Spirit's putting me in, to really own my power right now. And that's really what's happening, because my life was just about snuffed out recently, due to some mishaps, right? Some unfortunate events. And through that, I managed to stand stronger and stronger. 55 when I had said help. 16, so it's not a surprise. And then second of all, God is working really hard in people's lives right now. Let's say that. And if you're not seeing it, you're not feeling it, and oh, it was weird. Sorry, guys. My Wi-Fi went out, so I just shut it off. But anyways, it's a significant story because there were these subtle things. I mean, they're not exactly subtle, but they were subtle. And they may not have always been something I would have acted on. It may have just been something I'm like, well, he's got to deal with it. And I don't feel that way anymore. But it was highly significant. Like, what are the odds? What are the chances all of this would happen, right? All I can say to you is, if you're having nudges, if you're having dreams, if you're having thoughts, you better act on them, because these times are very real. And our actions determine everything about our character, about our principles. I mean, this man hurt me so bad that when I went to trial, all I could do was shake. I was like shaking on stand. And he even got in my face in court. And that's why everybody like stood up and the deputies had to step in. They even tried to push for like statutory rape and all this kind of stuff because I met him when I was 13. But that didn't fly because I was like, no, I was a kid and I wanted to be with him. So that didn't fly, but this was like a big deal. Like, our thing was not easy. It was not fun. And this man has gone through a lot. And, to realize that it's weighing so heavy on his heart that he's just pretty much in self-destruct mode was a big deal. And it was so easy to forgive him. So easy to forgive him through all of that. But I feel like that is significant. And I feel like it's a significant message for everybody right now. It really, truly is. If you're not listening to nudges, better be careful. You don't know who you're hurting, and you don't know just why that person may need it. And karma is very much so still in play. And these times are changing very quickly. And I can only hope that it still ends in a positive, because when I offered for him to have me take the kids somewhere and meet him, he shut down again. And I'm a little nervous. Like, I don't want to push him the wrong way, because obviously it's a sore spot. Because his mom even says he cries when she talks to him about the kids. He won't see them anymore. He hasn't in a long time. And I give his family access to them all the time so that he can. That's never been something I've taken away. And I wasn't supposed to. Like, I have full custody because of the abuse. But I still always made it a way, because I'm not a parent that my kids are not a tool. And so it's significant. It really, truly is. And all I can do is hope and pray that I can pull him out of this. What a miracle that would be, right? Like, my severe abuser, and I can save him. 2002. I really hope that's the case, you guys. Like, I'm like seriously putting a lot of energy towards that right now, and I just super feel empowered. Spirit put me in this position for a reason, and I'm not going out like this. And I am loved, and I am worthy. 2022. And I still have a place in my heart for who I'm supposed to be with. And it just proved it to me even more, like how much these things matter to me, how important certain people are to me, and that I would do anything in my power to help and to save and to love. Even when this person hurt me more than anybody I could ever imagine. And I get so many chills every time I say that, because the abuse was very real. I prayed for 3 years to get out of that relationship. I prayed for safety, 2111, when I said that, for 3 years. Because I don't like cops. I reached out to his mom. I reached out to certain people and they didn't believe me, 2121, or they just didn't understand how bad it was. But you're talking everything from mental, emotional, to physical, to where, you know how like DOC officers will break you down, they'd like mentally break you. He did that to me more than once. And he would do it for like days and hours on end. He would even tell my favorite neighbor in the world, Miss Dixie, that I was doing things I wasn't doing, and he was trying to get her to like call social services on me or something. And that's when she became my friend, because she's like, I'm gonna go investigate. And she came over to meet me and see what was going on in my home, and my daughter was a baby at the time. And she fell in love with me, and I fell in love with her, and her name was Miss Dixie. And so he was like telling her I was like abusing my kids, trying to get her to turn me in or something weird, but she became my best friend. And I lost her a couple years ago, so she was very significant to me. She passed away a couple years ago, so this story is very significant in reality. 22 when I had said that. He tried to make her my enemy, and she became my best friend, and she saw right through it. And so when it all went down, she actually helped me, because he took our home away and he left us homeless. I mean, it was severe what he did to us. It wasn't just me that he hurt, it was my kids as well. He was significantly somewhat abusive to them as well. More so to me, but it would spill over kind of a thing, and not always like a physical, you know, but just different things. And so it was really significant, but it's very, very important, and it's very empowering. And by golly gee gosh, my perspective is just so different than it used to be. Like, it really truly is. I used to be in the state of protect my own heart, just kind of coward. Like when I first moved in here, I used to even tell my neighbor, my twin flame, like, I want out of here. I don't know who I am anymore. 23, but I'm going to tell you guys, if something is nudging you, right now is the time to fill people with love, period. I don't care what they've done at all. Fill them with love. 2333, and that's what I'm going to continue to do, because I'm ready to make sure there's a significant change in my world. I'm going to be in my power, and I'm about to really, truly stand in that power. So watch out. Hear me roar. I'm not going out like that. And I know this twin flame journey almost killed me, and it's just about leaving me homeless, and I'm not going to let it. He's not showing up. And I found another option, and I'm still like, no, it's not the way I want to go down. It's not the way I want to go out. I was going to be moving to North Carolina. So I'm going to make that money real quick, and I'm going to do it. I'm having to balance for prosperity. Spirit's like, it's knocking on your door, 24. And my original instinct is like, oh my God, it's too heavy. I give up. I've been sick. I can't do it. Okay, you know, did almost die. Like, I'm done. I'm like, no. I feel so empowered. Where are you guys grabbing onto things like that? Are they happening for you? Are you showing love, 2444, where it needs to be shown? It's a significant purpose right now. That's the least I could tell you guys. It was beautiful. So I'll pull a couple cards just because. Just a couple cards for the collective. See what's going on right now. I woke up this morning and on my clock it was 5:55. All day I've been seeing 555s. Of course, in this video there's been a lot of 222s. That's my twin flame number. So every time I see that I'm like, I don't know why. I was really like, trying to like let it go. And yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do anymore. I don't know who I am anymore. Like, I feel really empowered. And all I can say is I hope I can make a difference. I hope we can save him, and I hope he can be in my kids' lives. And I hope that I lose that fear completely, because there's no reason for it. It's not significant. Can you guys say you could do that? Like, have you ever had a severe abuser like that and then been met with the point of forgiveness? And I'm proud because I easily was like, I mean, there was hesitation because of the abuse and because for years that restraining order's been there and he's tried to break it a couple times, like not in a good way. And so there was a little hesitation, I'm not gonna lie, with that part. Like, do I really want him to know where I live? Do I really want to risk it? And I'm like, none of it matters. It truly doesn't matter. So be mindful of what you're being presented with that, but again, don't do it with the wrong people, like fallen angels and things like that. But if God is nudging you to do something, if the angels are nudging you to do something and you are not listening, I would be really concerned about what you might be missing. Something huge for yourself and something huge for that person, okay? Big time. And it may just bite you in the ass in ways that you aren't expecting. I love this. The Silky and Her Skin, reclaiming authenticity. Hell yeah, bitches, I am. I am reclaiming my authenticity. But there's a big movement in the earth right now, you guys. I'm not kidding you. Like, these things are big, right? Like that Last Supper video, there was significance in that. And then I saw another dude posting about the Last Supper. And again, I'm not religious, but I'm like, there's significance there. Energy field adjustment or cleansing and health. I'm telling you, there's some changes abound. Oh my gosh. And then I talked about how crazy it was that I was getting messages and my daughter did, but then he did yesterday too. He's like, oh, it's funny. God came to me yesterday. Don't think I'm crazy. I'm like, nope, dude, I don't. Because it's already happened to me and now it's happening to my daughter and now you. Like, this is real. Like, it really feels like life and death for this man. And I'll be damned if we lose him because I didn't do enough. Doesn't mean I'm getting back with it. It was the first thing I told my kids. But nothing else matters right now, right? As far as everything else goes. Then we have watchers, transpersonal watchers. There is a significant thing about angels and beings and things that are well aware more than we are. Okay, so take not kindly to those nudges. Then we have mini masks, the authentic self. Make sure you are being true to who you are at the core, because if you're not, it may bite you in the ass. 28:18 when I had said that. So much love to all of you. This was a really empowering moment for me, and I wanted to share it because it's significant across the board, and I can't reiterate that enough. If you're feeling nudges like this, don't hesitate. Do it, or it may rock your life beyond eternity. It's no joke. So much love. Peace in the Middle East. Oh, peace on earth all around.